And I'm here with my Eyewitness News colleagues, Meg Farris and Eric Paulsen. And you guys, all of the years that you've been in Eyewitness News, all of the characters, all of the people who've had amazing personalities, but it was something about Chris Owens that just stood out from a lot of people. And she literally lasted and was a personality and a character and someone that the city loved up until the day of her death. Like, what was it about her?
She's larger than life, and I mean, she was the Queen of Bourbon Street, and it just like, and I said to somebody today, she was like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, she just kept on going and going. Right. I thought she'd be doing this in the next 20 years.
Right.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Chris Owens, that bigger than life hair, incredible body, the bigger than life clothes, and I don't think people realize, and Eric, tell me if you agree with this, that her personality was completely opposite of all that. Yeah. She was very spiritual, she was very subdued and quiet and kind.
So sweet. Whenever I take friends to the club, she would always have a table for me, and she'd send out sandwiches and stuff like that. If it was somebody's birthday, she'd do a special occasion for that. I mean, she was just the most giving person. And the thing that I always tell New Orleanians, and I always, whenever I'm giving talks someplace, and I go, have you ever been to a Chris Owens show? And if they say no, I go, you're not a real New Orleanian. You gotta go to a Chris Owens show.
In fact, my aunt and uncle, who are in their 80s and 90s, still alive today, their first date was to a Chris Owens show back, and they got married in 1958. So their first date was to one of her shows. But she was very demure and kind and sweet, not this big personality like the hair and the makeup and the eyelashes.
I feel like everyone has a first time interacting with a Chris Owens story, a first time seeing Chris Owens. I was in elementary school, New Orleans Public Schools, and we would do those little trips to the French Quarter. Yeah. And I think that we were not supposed to be technically on Bourbon Street, but we were crossing right at the corner where the club is. And I just so happened to peek in there, and I saw her. And she wasn't dancing, I don't know, it was in the middle of the day, so there was no performance that was going on. But that was my first time seeing her, and she just, again, very big hair, and I thought she was gorgeous. And, and she just had, I always said, was jealous, because it was like no waist. Like the waist was just not existent.
Zero. And thighs and everything. And that is a testament to dancing for 60 years.
She could outdance most 20-year-olds. But I'll tell you how far back it goes with me. I was on a field trip here when I was 13. And I'm walking down Bourbon Street, and I see that picture of Chris Owens, and I'm a 13-year-old boy going, whoa. And then
spare us the details.
Fewer than 20 years later, I was sitting in her living room interviewing her for PM Magazine, a show I did back in the 80s.
Well, it seems like you both have developed a relationship with her over the years. What's something that you think would surprise you? I know you said that she had a sweet personality, not a larger than life personality, but what is something that you learned about her that really stuck with you?
Well, she started the Easter parade, and that's when I met her in 1983, 84, when I was covering her with the Easter parade when it started. And she was very spiritual, very religious side to her. About Easter was about the religious side of Easter. It wasn't about bunnies and candies, and that was something. But I'll tell you, my mother always said the best kept secret in the city of New Orleans was Chris Owens' age. Right. And I got to tell y'all something. I learned her age today.
Yeah, same.
As long as I've known her, I did not know her age. And the other famous line about her was she had more people coming to see her, but she was the only one on Bourbon Street who didn't take off her clothes. She was just talent. You went to go see her talent.
She actually sued a magazine because they said she was a stripper, and she was not. She was a dancer and a singer, and she was a showbiz icon.
Well, something I learned today is she wasn't even a real trained dancer. How did her dancing career start?
Just on stage. She started at a club with her husband Sal, and then they bought the big place where they are now. They bought that in the 60s, and she just was on stage. They had gone to Mexico and some other places in Latin America to find out how dancing was done down there, and then they just kind of emulated it.
Right. I'll tell you something funny. She still lived an incredible life. I mean, there are times when I'm just exhausted, and I'd get a phone call from Sammy, Chris and them, hey, we're going out to dinner. We're going to have a limo come pick you up and go out to dinner. And I'm thinking, all right, it's a Wednesday night. I have to get up early. We're just going to go up the street. We drive to Mary Mahoney's in Biloxi on a school night, okay?
Right.
Now, the funniest part was we had to stop at a gas station for her to use the restroom. And here she is in all the regalia. But this was just 2 years ago, right before the pandemic. But we walked in Mary Mahoney's. And it was like the Red Sea had parted. Everyone at the bar turned
Chris
and
Owens.
gasped and like everyone, young men, you know, every age just turned and just went, oh my gosh, it's Chris Owens. And she still was very, very famous. But she still went out and did things like that and treated you, like I said, on a school night when the rest of us are tired, and she was older than we were,
Well,
and she was having fun.
She had worked out that morning. You know, she
Yes.
worked out every morning. One of my fondest memories, I used to go to her place on Mardi Gras Day back in the day, and I'd stand on the balcony with, I mean, Al Hurt and, you know, all kinds of people like that would be there. It was just, it's kind of amazing.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting on the funeral for Tom Benson when he died. All the big media, sports media, ESPN, NFL Network, all these people were in, and I wasn't going to recognize all the other NFL team owners, okay? Not the coaches, the owners, and they were, you know, kept looking at the limos coming up to pay their last respects, and this stretch limo turns in and pulls up, and all the guys are getting ready, and, you know, God, this has got to be somebody big. And the limo door opens, and Chris Owens steps out.
Well, you're right, it's somebody big.
It is someone big.
And they all kind of look like, they thought they were looking for an owner for one of the teams. And she goes, Meg! And I walked up and, you know, interviewed her and everything. And so she was just fun and very down to earth.
Well, this year's parade, the Easter parade, is still going to go on.
It is.
And you had a very special conversation with her.
She had asked me if I would ride in the parade with her this year. Actually, at the funeral of her boyfriend Mark, who died right before COVID, and we were at the funeral home, and she asked if I would stand in for Mark and ride with her in the parade. Then the pandemic hit, so we missed 1 year, 2 years, and then last year she was she had a carriage ride to Sobu. We all had lunch there. It was really nice. And she asked me to say a few words. I did, and then this year she said, Eric, ride with me. So I'm gonna.
Oh, Eric!
And her friend Kitsy
Adams,
Kitsy Adams, who was, I mean, just so close to Chris. Nobody was closer.
Yes.
She
did
said
everything.
Chris's last wish was, no matter what happens, that Easter parade has got to roll, and it'll be a tribute to Chris this year.
So you'll be there on the parade.
I will be there.
Wow! And you know, you talked about Mark. She went through his illness and was very, very sad when he died a few years ago. It really, you never saw her really 100% get that spark back. And she still had a wreath on her door about loving him. If you remember, still, all these years later. And so, I don't know, the fact that she's out of pain, that she's with him, and she was kind of getting a little frail in these last months. And so, you know, I'm just, I hope she's happy.
And Mark was by her side all the time. I remember going over to their house for dinner or drinks or something, and Mark was showing me around some of the stuff. We got outside on one of the balconies. We got locked out. We had to call Chris on her cell phone to come let us back in.
Well, the other thing, and this is why I love, you know, I love dogs more than Eric. You know, I love my, anyway. So she loved her dogs, and she had, you know, in her room, a shrine to her. To one of her lost pups. So,
a testament to her energy. She also was able to make it to this past Fat Tuesday. If I'm not mistaken.
That's
that is a testament to her energy, 89. All right, Eric, Meg, thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to miss Chris.
We are.